So basically what I've been doing is I've been working with a lot of kids and boys and young adult males who have no idea what they're doing in this generation, and they're lost. They have no sense of passion. And these aren't kids and young men who are without skill sets and abilities. These are smart kids, they're athletes, but they don't seem to have the spinal column that I remember growing up with. And many of the people that I have talked to say that boys are just not making it. I refer to them as the lost generation of boys. And their particular, what I would call syndrome or characteristics, fall under a term that I've referred to and come up with, which is the man-boy syndrome. The man-boy syndrome is essentially, a person who is self-absorbed, narcissistic, is not able to really rise to the next level of wanting to be a mature adult, take on a certain level of responsibility so that they can become a good partner, good husband, a good father, a good team player in the work environment. And even in sports, they are all about me, not about we. And so I find that these boys are coming to me not lacking intelligence, not lacking ability, but lacking the desire to get off the bench of self-absorbed self-stimulation and get into the playing field of really wanting to be part of a team. And so I find myself as a psychologist, clinical psychologist, and as a life coach, that these boys are needing something that they have not been able to get in the world as we know it today. So one of the things that I started looking at was, given that these boys were lacking certain things, what may have caused this to happen? So now we've got the man-boy syndrome, but what has caused it? The male brain in utero at 8 weeks is marinating in testosterone for the next 10 weeks. That's 2.5 months. In a sense, the male brain, if all goes the way it's supposed to, will become an all-male child. And so what happens is that when the male brain gets linked with an overstimulating technological world, as we have now, that in my sense is that it derails the boy, the male, from what used to be traditional work. Men traditionally were working on farms, working in factories. They were doing work. They essentially were, the purpose and drive in life was to be hunters, trappers, builders, protectors, providers, warriors, and procreators. And so what's happened is that technology in some way has taken over them and has co-opted those particular drives, the drives to protect and the drives to procreate, and they have isolated themselves in the world of technology, and these needs that they have are being taken care of in a self-stimulating way, which disconnects them and alienates them from themselves and from the society as we know it. Now, I call that Mother Nature, okay? So boys were mentored by their fathers, mentored by a team of several generations of men. They would go out into the farming fields, and they would be part of a team of men, and they would be essentially raised, and they would have role models, and they would learn what it means to be a protector and a provider. And now we don't have farms, and we have this technology, and in addition, there has been a disempowerment of male authority figures, and this may have been a byproduct of the 60s and the 70s, and while the movement, the feminist movement has been extremely helpful to normalizing and balancing the equation, there may have been some side effects from this, where men have backed away from taking on roles that traditionally raised boys. Boys today will speak to me and say, I have no fear and no respect of male authority. At 14 years old, at 15 years old, at 16 years old. And so they feel like they're running the show. And their brain isn't emotionally mature enough, cognitively mature enough, or so psychosocial or educationally mature enough to be able to say, I'm in charge. And so the generation above them 2 generations above them are not respected. So these boys are self-absorbed, and they do not end up becoming good fathers or husbands. So when boys or young men come to work with me and spend time with me, they enjoy their presence with me because they feel like that I'm in it with them. And what's really important, being an identical twin, it's been very important for me to feel like that I convey to them that we're in it together. That 1 + 1 equals more than 2, maybe 10, maybe 15, maybe 20. And I'm able to convey to them that we are in it together, that I'm just as involved and invested in the outcome as they are. And they feel that presence. If a boy or a young man is unable to work in my office, I will take them outside and go for a walk. And I will use another context for them to be able to engage in the relationship. And so in many ways, the essence of what's going on between me and the young man that I'm with is something that's between words. It's not necessarily exactly what we say, but it's how we engage in the process of being able to focus on their goals. And if they don't know what their goals are, I help them to find them. And I help them find that there's excitement in being able to move forward instead of being confused, lost, or alienated from themselves.